Good morning. This is Sydney Gaskins, and I am inviting you into my office for a morning moment. And this is very simply about grief. So I'm going to share with you three things in particular. What is grief? Emotional symptoms and physical symptoms of grief. And then I'll give you some resources. So very quickly, what is grief? I'm going to read it directly from the Grief Recovery Handbook. I completed their program myself in 2002 after my mother died. Actually, my mother died in 2002. I finished their program in 2003 and became certified in 2004. So, what is their definition of grief? Grief is the conflicting feelings caused by the end of or change in a familiar pattern of behavior. I'll read that again. Grief is the conflicting feelings caused by the end of or change in familiar patterns of behavior. So you typically cannot get past the age of 7 without some type of grief-inducing incident. That could be the loss of a fish, a pet, moving, a friend moving. When a child goes from being home to daycare or from being home into school, any of those things can cause grief. So that is the definition of grief. What are some emotional things that you can expect when it comes to feeling grief? These are just some. So I'm going to give you 4. Fear, anger, guilt, sadness. Those are 4. Those are 4 that you may feel, but there's other ones that intertwine with those, right? So again, fear, sadness, guilt, anger. What are some of the physical things that we experience? Physical things: fatigue, nausea, lowered immunity, so becoming sick, feeling sick, things that you're not used to. Change in weight, so that could be gaining weight or losing weight. Aches and pains, those that are not normal ones that you would feel. So aches and pains. And one big one is insomnia. So the inability to sleep, or should I say, let me explain what insomnia is. So insomnia is not just not being able to sleep, right? Insomnia is having the opportunity to sleep, but not the ability. So you may have trouble falling asleep. You may be able to fall asleep and end up waking up in the middle of the night and not being able to fall back asleep. Or you may fall asleep and always wake up early. And that's not just, oh, I wake up 5 minutes before my alarm, or I wake up, 20 minutes before my alarm. This is significant. So maybe an hour and a half before your alarm goes off, you're awake. So those are some of the physical symptoms. And I'm going to share with you this book, The Body Keeps the Score by Bessel van der Kolk. He is a great resource for people when it comes to trauma and what happens with our body, even with grief, right? Because there's some grief in trauma. I'm also going to share with you, I'll give you a link, and I may be able to drop the picture in. What I share with clients is called the Body Emotions Map. And it is a great resource that shows different places where our bodies hold emotions. So you may be able to look at it and identify some of what's going on with you physically and attach it to an emotion. Last but not least, I will always remind you to inhale and exhale. Inhale for 4 seconds, exhale for 6, and allow your body just a moment of peace. Give yourself some grace. If you have any questions, please feel free to send them to me. And always, always, always remember to be water. Always be water.